Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm Wiso from FootMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. On tonight's show, we'll be talking about the Liga Final. Querétaro versus Santos. Could they have done it? 5-0 deficit. Santos winning. Caixinha heralded all last night. We'll be seeing what they were doing next tournament. Also, the coaching changes. Lots of coaching changes in Liga MX. Of course, Mexico versus Guatemala. In Lalo Herrera's 2 goals, we'll be analyzing the front line for Mexico's previous Copa America. Important games will be coming up, Peru and Brazil before the start. And then, obviously, what is going on with the kids in New Zealand U20. A horrible display, 2 red cards down there. Lots and lots to talk about. But first, let's see who's on the show from Guadalajara, who's been traveling all around, got the chance to be at the final in La Corregidora. Mr. Tom Marshall, how you doing today, sir? Tired or what?
Bit tired, yeah, I'm not going to lie, but looking forward to the league's over now, and now it's just a summer of pure national team, Women's World Cup, under 20s World Cup going on, so yeah, it's not going to stop, is it? If I'm tired now, I'm going to be even more tired in 2 months.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things that are coming up, lots of tournaments that you might have to be in 2 different places at once. How are you going to do it, Tom?
I've got my ways.
Very, very nice. Also joining us, Mr. Naive Moran. Naive, in Houston, the summer has started. No more Liga MX. I mean, are you excited, or are you kind of sad that it's gone?
No, I think first of all, hello, Wiso and Tom. I mean, I think it's part of the breaks. That you got a break of club football, then you go to the national team football, and you know how much drama it tends to happen with El Tri. That it's kind of fun to live close. But I think the final was great with Querétaro and Santos. Bravo to Caixinha, bravo to Iragorri, bravo to the whole staff in that club. It's an exemplary club. That a lot of Mexican clubs should see as an example.
Definitely what they're doing, and they're showing it with their 5 títulos. Only Toluca having a better torneos cortos, right? Winning with 7 and Santos with 5. So definitely that's the big news for obviously everyone, is that Santos Campeon. We'll just jump right into it with what happened last night. Obviously, many people thinking that it was just going to be a game where Santos is going to go in there, maybe put up a defensive game, and Querétaro needing 5 goals. But I like the fact that the Tom went in there. If you can score 3 in the first half, maybe 1, you still have 4. The game is on, and I think everybody was believing, especially fans that were there, with the atmosphere. Tom, you were at that game. Tell us a little bit about the atmosphere, and obviously. You tweeted out they can score 3 goals on here, and it was exactly what happened. 3 goals in the first half. We all believed that this was going to be the comeback, the historic comeback. Tom, tell us what happened.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. Honestly, even before going, obviously I always love going to game at the chance to go, so I never complain. But before going, it's like waking up 5 in the morning on Sunday to get the bus over there to Querétaro from Guadalajara, and it passes in the back of your mind, man, it's 5-0. It's 5-0. This isn't going to be that good. You know what I mean? There's nothing that great that can happen. But to be honest, even before the game, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Querétaro's fans. The first final the city's ever had. Yeah. And if you didn't know it was 5-0. Judging by the atmosphere, you would never have guessed. I mean, they were si se puede, before the game. They were, the stadium was 90% full, an hour before, and they really went for it. And obviously, when that first went in, everybody was like, "All right, well, we're starting now." Then the second went in, and it just kind of went up a bit more, the atmosphere. Then when the third went in, everybody just went absolutely crazy. I mean, it was just insane.
It's amazing that you see these smaller clubs, and I know that these equipos grandes and stuff like that. But I could just see in America at Chivas, and I know the fans are going to kill me for this. But if it was a 5-0 coming in the second leg, yeah, I just think that the bigger clubs, obviously, the fans would be churning on them. They wouldn't be there. Especially in Estadio Azteca, in the DF. But teams like a León, teams like Tigres. Even Monterrey, Querétaro, with those followings, that 5-0 down in the final coming back, I think it did help, and the morale of the teams and the players that were there.
Oh yeah, I think the fans were fundamental to kind of making these players just be like, Because there's no way the players obviously would have doubted before that they could do it. I mean, naturally, it's almost impossible. But the fans just made him like, right, you've got to go out there as a minimum and kind of, play for us. You know what I mean? And I think they did that, and they were very, very close. I think that Caixinha changed things up. They started with 3 at the back, which I think was a switch from Vucitic, which I think that Santos Laguna didn't quite get to grips with for a while until a few minutes before half-time when Cebollas came on for Chuletita. And I think that kind of made Santos a lot more solid, and from there they got a bit more control. But in general, that was just a brilliant display from Querétaro, and I think we're going to go on to talk about Santos, but from the Querétaro point of view, looks like they've got ownership for money. It looks like they've learned from this Ronaldinho episode. We'll see what happens this summer with him, but I really doubt it's going to stay. And moving forward, they've got Vucitic, who's already been to a final with the club. I can see Querétaro being a strong club for the next few years now.
Yeah. One quick thing about Querétaro, just to, I think it's also a good project in the making with the president Arturo Villanueva, and I think it's pretty interesting because Santos, it's already a solid project. You see the stadium, Territorio Santos Modelo, and the ideology, the methodology that the team has in itself, and it's seen in U17s and U20s. Well, that's what Querétaro wants to sort of copy in Querétaro. And I think, the way to do these kind of things is by attracting the crowd and by making the final. Now the crowd is really devoted to the Gallos Blancos.
It's interesting to see what's going on, especially with the money they have. Obviously, the rumors are coming in of how many more players would come in, but the Ronaldinho, in his thing, he did tweet it out that he's siempre gallo, but who knows? Obviously, what's going on. But you could even see he's loved everywhere. Even when Ronaldinho was coming in, the Santos players, it's like it doesn't matter. You're playing against the final. Ronaldinho's coming in, and everyone's excited that this guy's coming in. And you're from his first touch of magic that he has. That controversial on our side, even though we knew that it probably wasn't going to go in on that kick. That the goal kick was about to. He steals it from there, and then all of a sudden scores that goal. For just a second, we're like, it's Ronaldinho. This can actually happen. He knows the game. We obviously all know that it's against the rule. Otherwise, if that was allowed, then everyone would be following the goalkeeper to a T. But interesting to see. Santos, before we go into Santos, definitely have to congratulate one of our dear friends, Mrs. Kim, who is down there in Santos, who was there and doing an amazing job. Kim Tate, if you're, I know you watched the fan of the show, congratulations on what you're doing, an amazing job. If you haven't followed the Club Santos English Twitter, definitely do so. We'll tweet out the link, and definitely the Campeones, and definitely un saludo a Kim. But, guys, let's talk about Santos, the 8th seed again. I remember getting into that Liguilla was a Puebla game where they couldn't beat Puebla and they needed a Toluca result. Now these guys are the champions again. I don't have to say it, but León did almost the exact same thing exactly a year ago. But Santos, and I'll kick it off with you, Naib, since you got a chance to be a little part of history, which I think, Caixinha having problems with the media, Caixinha gives a special Mexican soccer show interview with you, and they all of a sudden do a lot better. What can we say? Naib, take it away.
No, first of all, it was all Caixinha in the beginning. It's all Santos stuff. Because one of the things that he said a lot in that interview, and hopefully the viewers can, if they haven't listened, they should listen, because he talks a lot about Mexican football in general and about Santos and about the Mexican player mentality, which he actually touched upon last night in Querétaro where Tom was at. But the thing is, he had the idea from the beginning. One of the things that he says a lot is we kind of erase what's happening outside. We just focus on what's inside. And the players really were focused and had the idea that they were going to make the Liguilla. And at that point in April, the chances were really small. Nothing was going right for Santos. And then just all of a sudden, they just changed the chip, and they made the Liguilla first, and then they took out Tigres, and then Chivas, and then of course they beat Vucetic's Querétaro in the final. It's really one of the things that really struck me last night from Caixinha's interview, press conference, was the fact that he says that you have to work 24 hours. I mean, in order to get these results to work and to make the footballers think and make decisions on the field. And he's done exactly that with Calderon, with Nestor Araujo, with Chuletita Orozco. You know, players that perhaps were never so intense with thinking now did it in the final, and they got the title.
Yeah, it was really interesting last night to hear Caixinha, because I think once you've become champion, it gives you almost more authority. And I think that beforehand, I don't think a lot of people have kind of taken to him in Mexico, because who likes the foreigner who comes in and kind of tells you how it's supposed to be done? I mean, whatever country, people don't tend to like that person. But at the end of the day, Caixinha is coming in with a UEFA Pro license, experience behind him, absolutely meticulous in his preparation and very studious in terms of the game. And like Naib was saying, it was very interesting to hear him be like, you know, coaches that come in 10 minutes before training and leave 10 minutes after, that's from 20 years ago. That doesn't happen. He also said coaches asking players to poner huevos, you know, as opposed to kind of like, you know, tactics and prepare. You know, that's not working anymore. And I think that was obviously an open criticism, I think, of a lot of the coaches here, who he said and Mexican football in general, he said needs to.
I think we might have gotten some technical difficulties with Tom. Naif, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still in the,
Tom just like locked off. Oh man, it wasn't even like taking off. Hope Tom, you're all right, man, because it looked a little crucial. But he was saying, yeah, following. I'm sure he's going to join us soon.
Yeah.
Tom, you there?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Look like you got knocked off. But
Yeah.
last thing you were talking about, obviously coaches preparing a little more now these days and just coming in 10 minutes and 10 minutes out.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying basically, I asked him, would you advise after your experience? Because at the end of the day, he wasn't very well known in Europe. I mean, as a coach, yeah, but as like a manager, no. As a head coach, no. So would you recommend other European coaches to come? And he said, yeah. I mean, as long as the project's right. So yeah, I mean, I think he's been really good for the game in Mexico, to be honest. I mean, I really do think that he's given it a quick kick up the backside. And I think it makes people think. I mean, the first thing basically he said in the press conference was like, I'm not polemic. I'm not trying to cause, you know, make headlines. He said, I'm not polemic. I'm discomforting. I say things that people don't want to hear. And I think he's right. And I mean, you know, that does come across as arrogant sometimes. But I think the perspective that he brings, I think he's just being honest. I do believe him. And yeah, I think Santos Laguna now moving forward, the big thing is, can they keep him? Because he was very explicit yesterday. He wants to be in Champions League. And it's that kind of ambition that you rarely hear from a Mexican manager. You never hear anybody like. I interviewed Chepo a few weeks ago. Oh yeah, you know, and he said, yeah, I'd like to go to Europe maybe. I was like, oh, you know, do you speak any English? He's like, well, yeah, I understand a bit, but he's like, I'm not saying English is the fundamental, but he's just so much more prepared than the average Mexican coach. I mean, speaks 3 languages for a start and fluently. I mean, it's just a different kind of mentality.
Yeah, and one thing just to add, Tom, to what you just said, which was great. But I mean, I hear a lot of players that they say that Caixinha has been their best coach. I mean, I've read it from Molina, I've read it from Marche, I've read it from Marc Rosas, and Marc Rosas, you know, he played in Europe already. He played in Celtic, he played in Barça, in La Masia, and you know, Marc told me when I interviewed him, Caixinha has been the best coach that I've ever had. You know, that tells you a little bit of the potential that Caixinha has and the luxury that Santos has at the moment of having a coach of his sort. And you know, but the thing is, I don't see, for example, Caixinha working in another Mexican club that is not Santos, because there's a lot of more stuff that Santos has that not a lot of other clubs have. I mean, if you compare Santos to Puebla, it's a total joke. I mean, it's like 3 oceans of differences.
No, yeah, it's I think it's a really important point, because we mentioned Kim before, but when I went to Torreon for the semi against Chivas, and I got a little tour around, and you know, I went back last Thursday, and you know the people, you obviously start chatting to the people. There's Spanish there, Colombian guy, Polish, you know, all have studied, all with masters and stuff, and like really into what they do, whatever department they're in, and it's unbelievable the difference with a club like Santos and other clubs. And I think that, I mean, for me, I think it is the benchmark. I think it's the benchmark for Mexican clubs at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only caveat is that I'd say is, they did finish 8th, so we're giving all this praise. It wasn't like an unbelievable season. They did have the problems, undoubtedly. I think Caixinha, I think he mentioned it last night, I think his relationship with the media could be better. I think he could portray himself better in certain ways. But I think he'll learn from that. He's only a young coach at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I just very much enjoyed Caixinha's time in Mexico so far, and I think he's going to go. I think he'll get an offer now and he'll go. Because that's what he wants to do, and no Champions League club or serious Spanish club will hire a manager straight from the Mexican league to the top half of the Liga. That's my opinion anyway. So I think he'll
maybe a national team.
I think that'll be later on in his career. I can see him at a relegation struggling La Liga team, or obviously one of Porto's big three. But I don't know how. It depends. I don't know. One of Portugal's big three, sorry. So Sporting, Porto, or Benfica. But I don't know. If the right offer comes up, put it this way, I think he's gone. I don't think there's any way he's staying.
Nice. Talking about coaches changes, obviously, important what European coaches were doing, and Nayo and I were talking about when's the last European coach that won a Mexican title with a club and with Bora Vitoinoich. I mean, and not to say that he's Mexican. Obviously, he's European, but I mean, Bora did a lot with Mexico. So in 82, 81, right?
Yeah.
81, right? So I mean, you're starting to see how it doesn't happen. On the chat, we have Joel saying there's been Euro coaches before, and well, I don't see it happen with how much the club owners like to get involved. Not too long ago, Hans at Pachuca and Van Schip at Chivas. Kind of going into that European coaches and what's going on,
but yeah, I think it's a great example, Van Schip with Chivas, because Van Schip was, I think everybody at Chivas and even fans and journalists and everybody thought he was on the right path with them. But obviously there's that culture shock, and I think that's happened at Santos. But whereas Santos is much more stable structure-wise, and they think about the decisions in terms of a short, medium, and long term. I think that enabled Caixinha to fit into a structure, whereas at Chivas, there's just been so many changes there that we've seen. Only Chepo and Nestor, they fit perfectly because they're from Chivas, they know everything about it. But in some ways, it's a shame because I think Van Schip would have been absolutely great for Chivas given 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. Well, talking about so many coaches and coaches changes, let's anything else about the final. A lot of it, I mean, we didn't talk about a lot of it, but even in this show, seeing a Chuletita Orozco scoring that many goals on the first leg, I mean, it was this more of a Santos taking advantage of a Querétaro just kind of letting something go in that very first game and not being able to come back, or was this a performance, a one-sided performance the whole time?
It's hard. I mean, I don't know. One of the things about the final, I mean, I'd say Giannini was amazing in the first leg of the final in Torreon. And Giannini, I think, had 3 assists in that game, too. And 3 of the assists went for goals of Chiletita. And then in the second leg, I mean, I think I like Sepúlveda, a little bit of his speed. Daniliño played well in the first half, and then it kind of died. I mean, I just think what won this final was just the first leg and how just everything that Chuletita touched went in, basically. Mm-hmm. And that kind of was the big difference maker in the final.
Yeah, I thought it was a great performance in that first leg from Santos. I just thought it was like that second leg against Chivas in the semi. It was like you're just watching the game, and I was looking to watch them both live. It was like from the very first whistle, it was like they weren't going to lose. I don't know why. You just looked at them and you thought first 5 minutes, no, they're not going to lose. They're just first to every second ball. They're winning every second ball. They're chasing the game. The opposition aren't comfortable with them, and the goals came. Obviously, like Caixinha said, everything came together. And Chuletita's goals, it's actually quite funny. You look at the graph of the pitch, it's like, or the visual, like everyone was within like 5 yards. and the furthest one away. Not everyone was one touch. Everyone 5 yards, within 5 yards of each other, and the furthest away was from the penalty spot. So you get an idea. They were just pure poachers' goals. But at the end of the day, the trick with poachers' goals is being there.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he was there. But,
and of course, it's kind of Chile that Orozco scored that many goals. It's like kind of like rubbing to everyone how many he said. I know we'll pose this later on in the Copa America, but Chulita Orozco or Woso to think about. I mean, just to put it out there, a little drama on what's going on. Let's talk about what's going on with the coaches. So many headlines. It looks like 7 new coach changes, I think. In all of the news that are coming up. Obviously, the big one with Nacho Ambriz, but let's talk about. We have a list right here. Obviously, big today. La Volpe at Chiapas. Straight out, Chiapas can't even play their players for like 2 months now. I think Woso hasn't gotten paid since March, and they already got La Volpe. But whatever.
No. Yeah. So I mean, that's a clear example. Clear example of a club that kind of lets Mexican football down.
It's true. Ruben Omar Romanos at Cholos, I'm not too sure how that's going to work. I mean, obviously, of what Romanos has gone through, but what has he done? Mesa at Morelia, Nacho Ambriz at America, and seeing that was obviously going to happen after Matosas leaving. Puebla has Argentine rights, Marini, so another another Argentine coach in the league. We have Cruz Azul, obviously Sergio Bueno, which was for me out of nowhere, coming in with Cruz Azul, and then obviously the big signing now that people are a lot, that obviously now you're going to have close Matosas at Atlas. 7 different coaches changes. No one knew other than Marini, but I don't like to say this. Is this this mirrors our league of the craziness and drama of our league or the poor of our league. I don't know, but looking at it.
I mean, I don't know if you're Cruz Azul and you're hiring a manager, then at what point does Sergio Bueno make sense?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not nothing against him. Is there really no one out there? I've been saying that there are no coaches, that everyone just keeps recycling. There really isn't any out there, any candidates. Of course there are. I mean, if they're not in it here, then look outside.
I think I think people are not willing to get that gamble.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, at the end of the day, the money in the Mexican game, the amount they pay the coaches, means that they can attract coaches, they can attract top players, even the smaller clubs. Cruz Azul pay a lot of money in wages for the players, and then you look at Sergio Bueno's career recently, and it's like, well, where does that fit? It's a Big 4 club. Cruz Azul is a Big 4 club.
Is everybody they're trying to do the Guardiola thing, coming out of somewhere and then having no experience and try to win everything? I don't know.
No, but I mean, I think that apart from the Matosas to Atlas, which I think is exciting, I think it's an institution that traditionally likes attacking football and the fans want to be entertained. I think Matosas will be perfect, and I know people in Guadalajara are loving it, just absolutely loving it. And then the other one I think makes sense is Mesa to Morelia, because obviously they're in relegation trouble. They need somebody who's got experience, steady hand, good with working with a few young players there. I think the rest of them are overall, you're just like underwhelming. I mean, Cholos. I was surprised with Cholos.
Yeah, definitely surprised with Cholos going back. With the track record that they had. Ruben Romano. I mean,
the thing that gets it for me is like what you look at Farias, and then you look at Guzman, and then you look at Romano, and then it's like, what was the other guy? Negrete? Negro.
Almiron.
Almiron. And so you're switching from like people who out from outside to somebody who's just been around the block, to outside to around the block, and it's like, where's the thought process there? You know what I mean? Where we are now, we're going to get to here. And I mean, I don't know, mentioned it already, but it's the difference with Santos. I don't think you would get that with Santos. I think Cholos need to, and a lot of the clubs need to learn from that. And I don't know, I just don't see the idea with a lot of these clubs at the minute in those coaching changes.
Yeah, and I mean, you see the clubs, and there are just few. I mean, León and Pachuca are examples of betting for coaches that are new. Alonso, that made the liguilla, and PC, I know we saw that PC is not of your, but PC is a coach that was coaching Valencia just a couple of months ago in Spain. I mean, all that experience and those new ideas and making the players think in a different manner, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen in 6 months. And I'm really glad that León is still keeping PC. I mean, that tells you that's an example of a project. And it's not like these clubs like Puebla, Chiapas that are just switching coaches, even Cruz Azul with Bueno. I mean, and they were talking about bringing Gustavo Costas from an Argentine that was coaching in Colombia. They were thinking about Osorio from Colombia. I mean, there was a lot of rumors to Cruz Azul that they were going to actually go for a foreign coach from South America, and then it didn't happen. And I don't know what's going on there. I mean, there's just no lack of, there's no sense that they want to transcend. I mean, they just want to stay as Cruz Azul like that as always, just normal.
Yeah.
But they're
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about PT. Coaches changes, obviously, you know, it's Mexican League. We're always seeing at the end of the season where and who is everyone's going. But odd that we've seen that in what's going on. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Some of us, some more Joel with Pancho Villa's Army saying hello and talking about obviously Caccini. I see a photo of Piojo around there. Lots of stuff. So if you're not joining us, make sure you come and join us on the chat. But let's go and discuss Mexico versus Guatemala and what happened on Saturday with a 3-0. Looking into preparation now, this Mexico has been together for the past 2 weeks. You know, not everyone together, but expecting Guatemala really not having anybody there. I mean, Pescarito Ruiz is still playing. I was even shocked that he was still there. But let's talk about the game. It's a preparation, as we've seen, but we've seen before. I tweeted out, we've seen preparation games with alternate squads, not having so much cohesion. You know, the way that these guys played, a little better. It took them a little while, but I would say it's a pretty good result. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, they got the job done. I thought it didn't start very well. Still a few players coming back. I think Rafa Marquez will be absolutely key because I think he'll make the team click and, you know, give it a bit of personality and kind of leadership. And I thought that was lacking in the first half. But after the second half, and I think especially when Tecatito Corona came on, I thought, you know, you saw the difference in quality. I mean,
oh my gosh,
just coming off the back of a really brilliant season in the Netherlands, and, you know, I don't know, I think he's just going to be a key player. Honestly, overall, it didn't change my kind of opinion on this Mexico team going to the Copa America. I think they're going to struggle to get out of the group. I'm not saying they can't do it or they won't do it, especially with the way the third place is. But I think after that, they're definitely going to struggle. I think it is definitely a B team. You know, obviously there are some positives, but, you know, it is what it is. It's Liga MX. It's a strong Liga MX squad with a few European-based players thrown in.
Yeah, and I feel like that, you know, if everyone does what they're supposed to do, I think there's a competitiveness in the team. Yeah. But the defense, I mean, even Rafa Marquez being there, I mean, what is Rafa Marquez? I know he obviously played, but coming in the likes of Argentina, of Brazil, of Colombia, even Chile itself, you know, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be tough in those later stages for sure. But that defense, I think we have a great offensive power, and we even, you know, we have on what he was going to do. I really liked Tecatito on that free roll. I kept tweeting it out also on what he did, on back and forth. But what he did, Raúl Jiménez, Naib, obviously the big, you know, La Herrera scoring 2 goals now. I tweeted out some crazy stat. You know, he's got four goals in 3 games. You know, just trying to make some drama there, but. Can we see a Raúl and also a Raúl and Lalo Herrera together, which a lot of people are saying, but it looks like it's almost the same player playing.
I mean, I think the thing that Raúl Jiménez brings a lot to specifically Piojo Herrera's teams, that we look back to his history in America, is that he has a lot of sacrifice. I mean, technically he is put as his place as a forward, but he does a lot of the work in the midfield as well. Goes a lot to defend. I mean, I remember the team that won the title, Piojo's title against Cruz Azul, just it was Chucho Benitez and Raúl Jiménez, but Raúl Jiménez was the one that would do all the running, and I remember he covered a lot of distance in that team. So I mean, I think when you see that, and he tried it against Paraguay in Kansas City. It was Lalo Herrera and Raul Jimenez, and you know, there's this debate that after this game that was created that Tecatito could be one of the forwards, but I still don't see it. I think he's gonna go with the two tall forwards up front, and Raul Jimenez will be a little bit more back. At the moment, that's what I see. I don't see Bosa starting, for example. I don't see that happening with the players that are available.
Unless maybe Raul is coming in from not having that rhythm of not playing for that long time. If Piojo doesn't see it, I mean, I could see Piojo not coming in, Bosa in there, and then gradually getting both of them in there. I don't know.
I mean, that's another point. I mean, it's hard to tell against Guatemala though, because Guatemala wasn't that really of. I mean, it was a test, but I think Peru and Brazil will definitely be better tests in that regard to know how well is Raul Jimenez. Does he really have the stamina to play against top defenders? And Brazil has a good defense, so that will be interesting to see against Brazil. But I mean, it is a point of debate because he didn't play that many minutes this season in Spain, and perhaps he's not the best option. Maybe he's better coming off the bench.
Yeah. One of the questions that I have is, you're going to need a contención if you're going to South America. I mean, you just have to. And the only thing, I mean, having Güemes is a really true person that can do that. Güemes in the starting for you guys, or do you see more of the Negrito Medina role? I feel that would be too. He doesn't play that role as much as he did in the America. So I think that's a key role, especially going into Brazil, going into Lima and Peru. I don't know, Tom?
Yeah, I think Güemes is going to start. I think Herrera's had that in his head for a while. I think he brings a bit more defensive, mindset than... Exactly.
He's a true contención.
Yeah, that's what he does, and he loves it, and you can tell he just loves the work. Gets his head down, charges over. I mean, I like Güemes. I think that Jesus Molina is slightly unlucky, because I think that with him, he would be starting now in this Copa America squad. But I think the midfield's actually pretty interesting, and the way it links, and I think Tecatito Corona's that obviously that link. It's going to be fascinating to see will he play up front, because at the end of the day, if they put Jimenez and Tecatito up front, that's an exciting partnership there. That's a genuine made up two younger Mexican guys who are both in Europe. I mean that'd be great. But if not, you've got Güemes, and then for me, it's not just about which players play, but getting the balance right. Because you've got Medina, who obviously can work back as well. You've got Marco Fabian, who isn't that accustomed to working back. You've got Tecatito, who obviously isn't as well. So I mean, if you want to go on an attack, play Güemes, Fabian, and Tecatito as the three. You know what I mean? But is that balanced enough? Is that too attacking? Yeah.
The thing that was interesting, Tom, this season was how Negrito played a little bit. He wasn't that much of a as a center holding midfielder. He did win ahead and went a little bit more forward. So I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see Medina, Güemes, starters. Because it brings that that balance that you're talking about. And in South America, if you don't have balance in the middle, you're basically
that's exactly how I think. Over. Güemes is a true holding mid, that condition that's going to be there, and that's why maybe sacrificing Negrito Medina. So it's interesting to see, on the right, on the left, Luis Montes, a Fabian, on the right, a Tecatito, and then having him maybe switch on a free roll, totally switch the dynamics of the team. So I think it's interesting of what Piojo's playing with. I like the fact that he has those options, and we're seeing that he's evolving. At least in his 5-3-2 stick with his scheme, on the defense, Jerry Flores are doing the things pretty good. Velarde, well, I don't think we have anybody else. Aldrete. That is there. So and then Rafa captaining with Salcedo. I can't wait to see him against great competition in South America. Really. Ever since that U.S. game, ever since we got a chance to get a little closer with him, interviewing him, and seeing your interview, Naive. But I'm excited. It feels like we wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of splash in the Copa America, because all of these guys have talent to do great things. But then at the same time, can they all work together? It's a big question. What do you think?
Hopefully nothing bad happens like it happened in Ecuador. Because that kind of ruined the whole party. the Quito gate. I mean, hopefully we have a Lima gate or something going on.
Fabian is going, just FYI, and he was one of the few with Jonathan Dos Santos. But it'll be interesting to see. Good job to the FMF. I know FIFA and CONCACAF and Federativos right now aren't the happy people, and we're all looking at them. But I like the fact that we're playing, Guatemala, and we played Lima, and we're playing Brazil before the Copa America in South America. I think it's great preparations. So, and then obviously it all starts in a couple weeks for the Copa America. So exciting, busy summer, but we'll do that.
Yeah, I think these games now, Peru and especially Brazil, we're going to get a real sense of what this team is, especially when Rafa Marquez comes back in. But I think we can practically say the starting 11 now. No, I mean I think it's going to be Corona, then at the back I think it's going to be Salcedo, although I don't think that's 100%.
Rafa Ayala.
And then Ayala, and then Güemes, and that midfield is that, and then on the right Jerry Flores, on the left Aldrete, and then it's that midfield. I've got a feeling he's just I don't know. I think Fabian's going to start, and I think that I don't know. He might do with Medina and then play with Corona and Jimenez up front. But there's only one or two places basically that are still up for grabs. So, but I mean, it's so vital these games that they really do.
And then, yeah, he can switch up the formation as well. He did it in the Netherlands again, in Amsterdam against the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I mean, he went with a 4-4-2 basically. And I mean, he does have players that can go with a 4-4-2. I mean, he got Aquino,
the only player, the only thing he can do with it.
But the only thing that he can do basically, and you can have a solid central midfield with Güemes and maybe Medina, for example, and then see there. But we'll see these two games. Maybe he does actually play around with the formation. Piojo Herrera.
Well, it was tweeted out that that Corona will not get the start at least in the next game. It's going to be Talavera or
Melitón.
It's not going to be Corona. I thought it was going to be Talavera.
Hopefully it's Talavera.
Yeah, and who knows, we'll switch it out, and then hopefully we'll see a Brazil. I think obviously the titular, he said that the final final 11 would be. So maybe he'll try a couple more things, to start to see how it is versus, Peru here in Lima. But interesting. The game is this Wednesday. I think it's an early game of Pacific time at 5 o'clock. For you guys on the East Coast, it's at 8 o'clock. So it's not too late, like normally is for you guys on the East Coast that are watching games at 11 or 12 sometimes. When it's 8 o'clock in the Pacific, it's already 11. So interesting to see. Lots and lots of games starting for Mexico in the summer. But yeah, and we'll switch it off on what's going on. Anything else on El Tri, guys, on the senior side at least? Nah, I think we'll be good. Lots to talk about coming on Wednesday and lots of games. But let's switch it off. I know a lot of people were watching. A lot of people were upset on what happened in New Zealand with the debut of the Sub-20, one of the most talented squads that we've had that I can remember. I know the last time I got excited for under 20, I think it was a Gio and Vela in Canada. When Vela, if you remember, had his platinum hair. But the amazing of Vela, but Gio and Vela combo, they only made it. I think was it the quarterfinals, or they make it past.
Yeah, they lost in the quarterfinals to Argentina.
To Argentina. So
who won the tournament?
Who won the tournament? But I think Cunagüero was in that. Cunagüero was in that squad. And looking at the players that are having, I think we saw that we were very, very excited. But Naive, you follow obviously the youth development, Sergio Almaguer. You've seen that. What happened during that game? From the analysis that I have, credit to one of the FootMech source writers, Mr. Steve Graff, who went into detail on that article. They didn't take Mali, seriously. They were Mali. We were malísimos. Naive, what happened?
No, I think the problem in the team, one of the aspects. I mean, you kind of get a sense of how the game was. That Almaguer did two substitutions at halftime. Kind of showing to the whole world that he doesn't even have a clue of what is the starting 11 of this team. I mean, there's a sense that this team is really individual. I mean, it really doesn't work as a team. Even though it has bright stars in Guti and Chucky and Guzman from Chivas in the center, Also, Orbelín Pineda came in. Even Memo Martinez, he's tall forward. You didn't see them mesh as a team. Act as a cohesive unit. And I think the fault it goes on the coach, because we saw something similar 2 years ago in Turkey in the World Cup of U20. Mexico lost against Greece, and then lost against Paraguay, and then it won against Mali, and it made its way to the round of 16, where it lost against Spain 2-1. It's kind of the whole story repeating itself. But now they lost against Mali, which is on paper was the easiest opponent, and now they have to win, get positive results against Uruguay and Serbia. But the main problem that I see is that they continue with a process with a coach that didn't show anything 2 years ago, and now and it was really awful. And now he looks awful as well. And there's a lot of critique from the fans, because there's a lot of talent. And it's a bad move in my opinion, from Denis Teclos, who's the director of youth national teams. Teclos knew what he had in Almaguer, and now the results are not coming in. We'll see against Uruguay. I mean, maybe I'm being too critical right now. And tomorrow they beat Uruguay, but it will not be easy. And of course, if they play the same way as they did against Mali, even when it was 11 versus 11, it looked awful.
Yeah, I thought the first 5 minutes they started really brightly. And it kind of made sense, because you've got Avion Ramirez on one wing, Lozano on the other, who I thought was Mexico's best player by a long way. And then you had, the big Guillermo Martinez up front with Luero Diaz, up there as well. And you can see what they were trying to do: get it down the wings, direct, get it in there. And it was, I don't know, it's not Mexico's natural style either, is it? Really? And I don't think the players look very comfortable once Mali kind of got accustomed to it, and they knew that Lozano was the threat. I thought that they weren't frightened by Mexico. Diaz had obviously a big chance before half time, but apart from that, I mean, Mexico didn't really create much. And when you've got, like Nate was saying, some of the individual talent in that team, it's pretty scary if you're not creating. So I don't know. I thought the midfield didn't look imbalanced at all. I mean, I don't know, it didn't control it like they should. In Mali, I didn't think it was a very good team. I thought there were one or two individuals which were very good, or showed some traits that were, that they can be top players. But in general, I don't think Mali was very good at all. I thought that defensively, they should have, the Mexico should have scored a few goals before they did. But yeah, very disappointed, really. And this Uruguay and then Serbia, I mean, two really the toughest two confederations in world football, and now it's a massive task for Mexico to advance from here, and I don't think they're going to do it.
I mean, they they take the three best or two best third places. Right?
I think it's four third best places.
Oh, there we go. Hopefully they can get a win against Uruguay, who is almost one of the likely of winning a whole tournament, from what we're seeing. But what do they need to do, Naive? What needs to happen for these guys to come together? Maybe a little call from somebody else outside their little camp to get everything ready to get in. So what needs to happen for these guys to come in? They have the talent that's there. I mean, is it too much for Sergio Almaguer?
I mean, I see different players, and I see the same coach, and the same stuff happens. I mean, the same stuff that happened 2 years ago is happening now. I wouldn't be surprised if the players take initiative. If the players kind of, play their own way and ignore what the coach says, and just go with it. I mean, I think Guti, the captain, he's really smart. Eric Aguirre from Morelia, these are really smart players. And I think they're capable enough to direct themselves to victory. I mean, I think one of the things, Chucky should play more on the left, because he likes cutting in and shoot with the right. I think he's more deadly on the left than playing a whole half on the right flank, because that kind of takes away with the dribble. And you have Orbelín Pineda, who is really good on the right. So, I mean, that could be a good switch to do. Start Orbelín on the right, go with Chucky on the left, and Güero Diaz and Memo Martinez will start, because Diego Gama got the red card in the game, so that takes off an option in the attack.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned then Lozano was on the right, and then Avion Ramirez, he usually plays on the right wing for Chivas, and he was on the left. Then you've got Eric Aguirre, who's been playing really well for Morelia since he's broke through. Who's a year younger than the other players. He's playing central midfield for Morelia, and then he's playing right back. So you've got a few players there who are like playing out of the positions that they play for with the clubs. And I spoke to Almaguer and Dennis Duclos a couple of weeks ago to kind of preview the tournament, and I asked him, what's the formation going to be, and just to get a bit of the background, and both of them mentioned 3 different formations, and it's like, you understand you want some flexibility, but going into a major tournament a couple of weeks before,
trying to confuse everybody. You
want to know what your formation or what your starting formation is, and I thought that the players didn't look comfortable, to be honest, in the formation, and yeah.
Could it be that maybe some of those players also didn't come in? I mean, if we're looking at the 2 bright stars, didn't come in from the Pachuca players coming a little later, or would that be an excuse that he's gonna bring up?
Well, I mean, Orbelin Pineda, he's been the form player along with Gutierrez over the last few weeks in the Liga MX. I mean, they were unbelievable, both of them both in the playoffs and in the last few rounds of matches of the regular season. And then to leave Pineda on the bench, it's like you have to find a way of getting him in that team. But there was no balance, though.
There's no balance also, and it's really a letdown. I mean, it's a big letdown because in 2011 with Pájara Chavez in Colombia, the team finished in 3rd place, the U20. And after then, because Almaguer was an assistant coach to Chavez, so that's why Almaguer has this favoritism from Dennis Teclos. It's like, continue on with the process, but the process is not working at all. Is actually backtracking. I mean, one of the things that El Tri has to really realize is that it has to have a clear-cut idea of how to play U17, U20, and senior level. I mean, that's the key to success that has been the key to success for Spain and for Germany. And since the youth team, the idea is the same. And right now, Tom, you were just telling me that Dennis Teclos and Almaguer had 3 different formations. That doesn't help the youth at all. That confuses them because they're like, well, what do I play? How do I play? I mean, it's bad.
I think the other thing to mention is that, we're talking about the big national teams there. Germany and obviously Holland is the typical example, not just the national team but through Dutch football, and how there's a process like that. And I think that the changeover from Chepo to eventually Miguel Herrera has messed that up as well. I mean, I don't think, you look at all the youth teams playing, every single Mexico youth team plays a flat back 4 or a back 4, and then there's suddenly this jump to Miguel Herrera. And I don't know how good the link is between kind of Herrera and what's coming through. The Olympic team couldn't play 4 at the back. It's not ideal, put it that way. And again, going back to the Caixinha and the Santos, it stems from decision making and long-term planning and having a fixed idea of what you want from your federation and your team.
True.
Trying to see what's going to happen. Obviously, we all want that youth. It looks like the sub-20. Something to come about. But very, very hard to see, especially after that match. On the chat from Joel, saying that Mexico's always struggled with physical African teams. It's happened in the last 20 years for the Mexican national team. It's going to be really hard to change that for the youth. So it was seen that it's going to be a very, very hard game, obviously with the red cards. But we can see that. So let's see it. Let's see what happens against Uruguay tomorrow. That game being also, I think, at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Kind of weird. It's just 14 hours ahead. Kind of getting crazy. And the game's supposed to be already on Wednesday, but it's Tuesday for us. So definitely check your listings and local schedule in time. But we'll be we'll all be tweeting about it and watching the game. And we're seeing on there because it's very, very fun to watch these kids, especially the talent that we do have. So, anything else, guys, on the sub-20? I mean, I think we covered it all. We'll be interested to see where they're going in this next game against Uruguay, like we saw.
I think we're expecting three changes. I think I was just reading there, lost it now, but I think Godinho might be replaced in goal.
Nah, chill out, Tom.
I think that's what I was reading from someone from Televisa. I think. And I know going into the tournament, I was surprised he started. Don't forget, he's a bit younger than the other goalkeepers. I was actually surprised. And that doesn't come from him. That comes from talking to Almaguer and Teclos, because I asked in my interview to both of them, Godinho coming off this Porto, has he improved a lot? How good is it for Mexico to have a player who's out over there in Europe, and they were like, well, you know, we've got 2 other very good keepers, and you know what I mean? He went down that line, and I'm thinking, I don't think he's going to start. And then in the preparation games.
Right now on the show, I just see a tweet right now from Casiro Aoyama, who's with NBC Deportes over there in New Zealand, is starting. Gonzalez will be the starter on goal, not Gudiño. Raul Gonzalez, center back from America, will start. Arriola from Atlas and center. Aguirre from Morelia as a right back again. Left back Gutierrez, Kevin Gutierrez from Querétaro. The 2 central midfielders will be Guzman from Chivas, Guti from Pachuca, and then again we're going with Chucky Lozano on the right flank as right midfielder, Avion Ramirez on the left midfield position, Orbelín Pineda, and then Memo Martinez. So that's the starting 11. I don't think Gudiño had any fault in the goals, Tom. I mean, I think that's a little bit kind of. That's a bad decision. I mean, it's different. Almaguer is a tough nut to crack, basically. You know, not hard to understand.
Fun to see. One thing's for sure: if Almaguer doesn't get out of this group, I think he should quit. I think he should be done. He should be fired. Especially we have coaching mistakes, and you said that, Naib, last time we talked. Coaching mistakes, sort of why we didn't do so great 2 years ago. I mean, not be prepared and doing some weird formations and tactics. So we'll see where he's going out, and hopefully interesting to see what happens. But thanks to everybody on the chat. A lot of people watching. It was a little late start for everybody else. Joel, Tony Medina, Jazz Rocker, Mr. Steve Graff joining us. Pancho Villa's Army on there are always there to talk to. If you have any questions, always free to tweet us, and definitely we'll try to answer them on the show, or obviously answer them during Twitter. But lots of games coming up, not to mention the Toulon tournament, Las Estrellas de Toulon, that's coming out. That's always in France. Mexico getting its first win versus China, and very, very good competition that's always there. Mexico winning that team, was it last year, 2 years ago? Winning it.
That was the one prior to the London games, wasn't it?
London games, yeah. It was Ulises Davila tearing it up, I think, into that tournament. So, and then obviously the Panamericano starting in 40 days. So lots of competitions for Mexican teams that are happening. Women's World Cup, if we're there, Mexico going into Canada, I think they're arrived. So all types every day. Definitely check out to see there's a Mexican national team one way or another, female, male, young, old, doesn't matter. We'll be tweeting about it and talking about it and everything that's going on. No more Liga MX, guys. For at least a month before we start talking about it, we'll continue into doing that. But excited to see. I'll get to see some of you guys hopefully for the Gold Cup. We didn't get to go to the Copa America. We're not ballers like that. Maybe one day when this show gets taken by some big corporation and they can fly us out there. It's all up to you guys. Definitely help us out in spreading the word. Maybe we'll have these live shows. Can you imagine a live show? In a Copa America semifinal Mexican soccer show right in front of the stadium? Envision it. Spread the word. Spread the word. Thank you so much, Naib. Thank you so much for taking the time. Very, very knowledgeable, obviously, in your in everything that you do. Definitely follow my friend Naib on Twitter, and also his awesome blog that he has, De Lejitos, who also now has a little mini podcast that I saw, right? It's in Spanish. Naib. Doing a little bit of great 20 minutes, 15 minutes on the. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a short. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's just barely starting. But it's basically a short. I'd say 20-minute, max 30 minutes podcast in Spanish, and I just bring little bits of kind of pieces of news that I want to give my opinion, and sometimes there will be interviews. We'll see. Maybe sometime you guys might speak in Spanish, Tom and Wiso. In the little one, so that'd be kind of fun to do. But yeah, it's just kind of like instead of writing an article, do it with voice. That's
how I am. Every time I'm about to write, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it on the Mexican Soccer Show. Good luck with that. Obviously, follow Mr. Naib. Lots and lots of knowledge. If you ever wanted, obviously, all the news that you can get, there's a lot. And Mr. Tom Marshall, who's gonna get ready to start traveling, I'm sure. After the Copa America, I'm sure the friendlies, we'll see each other in some of the friendlies that are coming all over the U.S., but we'll be seeing that at ESPN with Mexico World Cup, and then also I know you're doing a lot with ESPN3 at the Twitter account, right?
Yes, ESPN FC3.
Okay.
I'm trying to kind of focusing it on the national team and kind of promoting all the stories that ESPN are putting out about Mexican soccer in general. So
Awesome.
it's just like a little home.
Yes. There you go, a little home for Mexican. And then obviously with us, with FoodMexSource.com, I'm Wiso. You can follow me at Wiso Vasquez, and then anything the FoodMex Source guys from Mr. Joel Aceves, who does an amazing job recapping everything in Mexican national team, Mr. Steve Graff, and we'll have a couple of new writers that will be joining us over the summer. So lots and lots of news. We're all friends. We're all together, making sure that you're getting all the right news. And you can get it all with the Mexican Soccer Show and friends. Maybe we should trademark that. But great show, guys. Thank you to the many that are on the chat. Thank you to the many that are going to watch us today, tomorrow on their podcast. The iTunes link will be coming out, which definitely rate us on the iTunes link. Leave some comments, share us, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you spread the word about this awesome show called the Mexican Soccer Show. The final whistle is blown. It's time for us to go. No, that's still not a good goodbye. I can't find something to say goodbye to. But guys, Tom, Naive, awesome show, and we'll talk to you guys later on. See you later.
Adios.